Welcome back, everyone, on this Tuesday morning. The time is 6:44 and it sure looks cold out there. Just everything coated in snow. Looks like cars are taking their time, which is the right idea. And as Monday morning greeted us with plenty of fresh snow, and even as the day went on, it just didn't stop. Now, she was outside braving the elements yesterday, but today she's in the warmth of the newsroom. Samantha Sullivan is standing by with the latest on school closures and road alerts. Good morning, Samantha.
Good morning, Victoria. And I just want to say thank you to you and Rob for letting me in the building today. It was a little cold outside yesterday. Well, the roads aren't quite as bad as they were yesterday, considering all the snow was coming down just about this time yesterday morning. But things can still get dangerous. We've been keeping an eye on some of those road conditions. It actually looks like they've been updated. They're a little bit better right now than they were even at 5:30 this morning. But that blowing snow still continues to be an issue if you're out on the roads, especially if you're out on the highways moving a little bit faster. We do have some more school delays and closures to talk about just within the last half hour. Rygate schools will be closed today, along with Broadview, Huntley Project, Lavina, and Shepherd schools, as well as Mount Olive Lutheran Preschool and Grade School and Pioneer Elementary School. Harlowton schools will start on a 2-hour delay. We're also told there will be no bus routes running today there due to the weather. Forsyth schools, Roundup Public Schools, Lodgegrass schools, Judith Gap schools, St. Charles Mission, and St. Libre Catholic School. Those will all also be running on that 2-hour late start today, and that means buses will be running a little bit late as well. So all of those things to be paying attention to. And of course, with that snow yesterday, you can expect those residential plows to be out again today. They'll start plowing this morning in Zone 4. That's the south side of Billings, and they'll continue on from there until they have worked all the way around the city. And who knows, by then they may just have to start over because it doesn't seem like we're done with this weather yet, Victoria.
All right, no end in sight, but all we can do is think about summertime. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, thank you. All right, now here's a quick look at the day's top national headlines. President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un are preparing to begin their second summit. The two will meet in Hanoi, Vietnam, 8 months after their first talks in Singapore. President Trump and Kim will have dinner on Wednesday. North Korean denuclearization will be the key topic on the president's agenda. A resolution to repeal President Trump's national emergency declaration at the U.S. southern border is expected to pass in the House today with Democratic support. The move comes after Congress refused to provide billions of dollars in border wall funding the president demanded. And an Australian jury has convicted Cardinal George Pell of sexually assaulting two 13-year-old choir boys at a Melbourne cathedral more than 2 decades ago. The verdict was reached last December, but was suppressed until now by a gag order. Pell is the most senior Catholic official to be found guilty of child sex offenses. On Wednesday, a judge will consider evidence for sentencing. Now closer to home, in a unanimous decision, Billings School District 2 board members agreed to take a levy to the voters. All 7 trustees and Superintendent Greg Upham will place a high school operational levy on the ballot this May. They voiced their opinion Monday night, saying it's time and even past time to provide high school students with much needed resources. Their last high school levy passed in 2007, which is also the year their history textbooks date back to. Upham says the levy would allow the district to keep pace with other high schools in neighboring cities. If approved in May, homeowners with a home worth $200,000 would see about a $10 increase in property taxes. Montana lawmakers are almost half done with the 2019 legislative session. On Monday, they kicked off the last week of the session's first half, known as Transmittal Week. The 2019 legislature hits its halfway mark this coming Saturday, and if a general bill doesn't make it out of its original House by that day, it's pretty much dead. With that deadline looming, scores of bills and their sponsors are making a last-minute push to survive. The 62 bills heard on committee Monday included one to allow legislators to carry concealed weapons in the Capitol. Sponsor Roger Webb of Billings said that lack of security at the Capitol means lawmakers should have the option of protecting themselves with a gun. The House Business and Labor Committee heard emotional testimony on a bill to increase the minimum required coverage levels for car insurance in Montana. Insurance industry lobbyists lined up against it, saying it would raise premiums on car insurance and lead to more uninsured drivers. The House Judiciary Committee also heard a half dozen bills Monday, including 3 to limit required vaccinations. Most of these bills have until Wednesday to clear a committee, after which the House and Senate go to all-day floor sessions to handle the crunch of bills trying to make Saturday's deadline. A Montana lawmaker is urging the Bureau of Land Management to block changes made to grazing permits requested by the American Prairie Reserve. American Prairie Reserve requested to expand its bison grazing on BLM and state grazing lands. It would take place near the Upper Missouri River Breaks and the Charles Russell Wildlife Refuge. The measure would also allow for year-round bison grazing. Opponents worry the change could lead to overgrazing and destruction of nearby property. If passed, the resolution heads to members of Congress, the Department of the Interior, and BLM. A Democratic state legislator has been identified as the subject of a sexual harassment complaint last year, and lawmakers now admit that complaint played a role in the legislature devising its new anti-harassment policy. MTM's chief political reporter Mike Dennison has more on this story.
Earlier this month, legislative leaders working on a new anti-harassment policy revealed that something previously undisclosed was a key factor in getting it passed. A sexual harassment claim involving 2 legislators. The claim happened more than a year ago, and late last week, the Associated Press reported the complaint was made against Democratic State Representative Jonathan Windyboy of Box Elder. Windyboy declined to comment Monday to MTN News, although he indicated he may respond later. Also last week, the legislature released a 5-page report on the complaint reportedly filed by a female legislator against Windyboy. The March 2018 report, completed by Great Falls attorney Jean Foray, was heavily redacted, at the request of those involved who asserted their privacy rights. But the document did reveal that the target of the complaint sent several texts to the female legislator in late 2017, saying, "You are gorgeous as always," and that "you're always a wonderful sight for my sore eyes." Another text said, "Well, just know between you and me, you can step all over me and there is no boundaries." Foray said comments in the text were inappropriate and that legislative leadership should take action. The investigation had been requested by legislative leadership, which, according to the Associated Press, considered removing Windyboy from his chairmanship of the State Tribal Relations Committee. He resigned the chairmanship last April, citing work-related commitments. House Speaker Greg Hertz told MTN Monday he wasn't involved in the incident since he was not Speaker at the time and that no further action is planned. House Democratic leadership released a statement last week saying they are shocked and disappointed to learn that one of their members harassed another person. They called the behavior completely unacceptable and said they're still gathering information on the report. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
The new anti-harassment policy enacted a week ago allows for confidential reporting and investigation of claims and penalties for the offenders. Elsewhere, the family of a man who was the subject of a statewide missing and endangered person advisory says he has died. The advisory for Wayne miniguns was issued on Monday morning. He was found near Browning. The Department of Justice canceled the advisory at 2 o'clock Monday afternoon. He was last seen on February 21st. The FBI is investigating but declined to comment on how miniguns died. Biologists at the University of Montana have new technology that could prevent millions of dollars in damage due to aquatic invasive species. Take a look at this video of an infested shoreline filled with invasive mussels. Professor Gordon Lukehart tells us this is what shores of the Flathead could look like if aquatic invasive species invade Montana. In 2016, it almost did after traces of zebra mussels were found in the Tiber Reservoir. They clog pipes, kill native fish, and can cut you when stepped on. But the University of Montana says they have new technology that could prevent this. Sponsored by NASA, the university has the first national DNA database for aquatic invasive species. Using computer technology, trace amounts of mussel DNA can be found, targeted, and destroyed before the mussels take over the ecosystem.
Like cancer, in a human body, if you can detect an invasive species in a water body early, you can have hope of eradicating and suppressing it and preventing it from spreading throughout the water body and then to other water bodies. So early detection is crucial, and DNA detection allows you to do that.
The university is also developing an app where you can take pictures of unfamiliar mussels and upload them for a scientist to examine. It's set to be released in 6 months. A Montana Navy SEAL and Purple Heart recipient is thanking the Florida residents who came to his aid after a plane he was in crashed into a Florida home. Tim Sheehy was in the aircraft as a student pilot and survived the crash with minor injuries. Unfortunately, the flight instructor who was with him was killed when the small plane lost power and plummeted into the home. Everyone in the home survived the crash. A 17-year-old girl was in the bedroom where the plane crashed and was pinned until emergency crews arrived. In an email to statewide radio host Aaron Flint, Sheehy praised the neighbors of that home, saying, quote, "The neighborhood folks deserve credit for their selfless acts of bravery immediately after the crash. With a fire imminent, they were courageous in their acts. It was a rough day, but could have been much worse. I'm just thankful there weren't more people in the home."